Hey, on behalf of Blue Ridge Conservancy, High Country Pathways, and High Country Recreation, I want to just welcome everybody here to this Candidates Forum on Recreation. Thanks for coming, being part of something unique and different that hasn't been done. So thank you guys for coming. My name is Scott St. Clair. I'm the president of High Country Recreation, and just want to welcome you to the event tonight. Before we start, I want to just do a brief introduction of there's three groups that are co-hosting this event, okay? First one's Blue Ridge Conservancy. Blue Ridge Conservancy's mission is to permanently protect land and water resources with agricultural, ecological, cultural, recreational, and scenic value in Northwest North Carolina. BRC partners with private landowners to voluntarily protect their land through conservation easements and works closely with state, federal, and private owners to expand the public's access to critically important areas in the counties of Allegheny, Ashe, Avery, Mitchell, Watauga, Wilkes, and Yancey. So the second group working with us to co-host this tonight is High Country Pathways, and their mission is to create a network of trail and paddle access points along the headwaters of the New River in North Carolina's High Country. Its primary initiative right now is the Middle Fork Greenway, which is being planned and constructed in accordance with the master plan that was developed last fall. So these two groups are working together on the Middle Fork Greenway initiative that's looking to build a multi-use greenway between Boone and Blowing Rock, which is designed to not only increase recreational opportunities, but economically, environmentally make our community more vital. High Country Recreation is the nonprofit I'm with, and our group is committed to promoting recreation in our community. So in addition to providing information for people about recreation, one of our goals is to connect people and groups around recreation, like we're doing right now, and also to advocate for improvement in our recreational infrastructure. So all three of these groups are registered 501c3s, which means none of us are supposed to be involved in partisan political activity. Okay, so our goal tonight is that this is going to be informational for the communities, for the people who are voting, and our other goal is that it's fair to the candidates. So let me sort of tell you guys the format we've come up with for tonight. I'm going to be moderating and asking the questions, and instead of asking the same questions to a panel and getting a back and forth, we're actually going to do it one at a time. And the reason we've decided to do this is so that people's answers hopefully are going to be more informational for you, but it's not going to be debating against another candidate or against another party. So again, we hope that helps fulfill what our mission is for tonight. So when we're done with all the candidates, we're going to have a time at the end to ask questions. And so we've put out note cards that if you'd like to ask a question, we're obviously not going to be able to take questions from every single person. But Rob McCorkindale with Blue Ridge Conservancy, there's Rob. If you have a question that you'd like to be put in the pool to be asked, write it and hold it. Rob's going to come around and collect them, and at the end, we'll have some time for some questions. So for the order, we're going to go in the order based on how it is in the ballot by district. Okay? So you guys can help us keep this informational and nonpartisan. Everybody who's running for office is making a big sacrifice. Okay, so let's all give them the respect that they need for venturing out in that. So, all that is introduction. Let's start. We've got our first candidate. Karen, come on up here. Okay. There you go. Great.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay. Well, please hold on to it so people can start. So, first candidate, this is Karen Green-Lert. She's a Republican running in the 3rd District. Her family moved to the Stony Fork community in 1850, and the family home still stands there. She was born in Boone. She attended with Parkway and Watauga High School. She's married and has 3 children. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to have an opening statement, a minute to answer, and then we're going to have 4 questions, and they get 2 minutes. Craig's going to be our timekeeper back there to help keep us on time. But as an introductory question, why did you choose to participate in this forum?
Because I was really excited to have the email because we need something in Boone for the children. I grew up, a great thing to do besides playing the river and the creek was to go to the roller skating rink before it closed and then it reopened later. And I remember my high school days having the Polar Palace. We would have hundreds of kids at one time, and we need something in this county besides the outdoor activities that we have now.
Great. So first question, you can take up to 2 minutes to answer. What role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Good question. Actually, I called the Greensboro Sportsplex when I got this email. I was very interested in how it would help us. And of course, Greensboro is a lot bigger than we are, and they have 106,000 square feet to use. 80,000 of that is for trade shows, which would be really interesting. Who doesn't want to come to Boone? And they have 18 meeting places for rent. And I realize that a lot of the hotels do, but it could be an all-in-one stop. They have a lot of outdoor activities, hockey, and then when my daughter played volleyball, I always wondered why we didn't have that up here, why we went down there. And when I talked to the young man that's the manager, he told me that when they opened this in 2000, it was privately owned and they couldn't make it, so Greensboro had to subsidize and take over. And this is the first year that they've broken even. In 2014, they broke even. But the economic impact was 25 to 30 million annually with hotels, gas, food. So I thought that was really great information.
Great. As a potential Board of Commissioner, what role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
Well, I think that we all support that. I think that everyone supports it and everyone has done it. I think that they have a role in listening to the public. I think that the taxpayers need to make that decision, and it's ultimately up to them.
Okay. So a community recreation center has been an express need of the community for decades, both in county and town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, I would have to have a lot of information, which I have none, on where would it be, who would fund it, what part of the city or the county are we looking at. There's a lot of ifs that we would have to know to consider this, but we're all for it. It's a great thing. We want our kids to have something to do. And Boone is small. There's not a lot except for the rivers and the creeks and biking and the parkway. We need something in the wintertime. And when I grew up, it snowed in Boone. And it was always great to have some activity to meet with your high school and elementary students.
Right. So last question. Trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities in both statewide and local surveys. What role can the county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
To support the development of greenways. We need it. I use it. I love it. And it's very important. It's safe. And it's good exercise. We all need that. So I don't think there's any commissioner or citizen that wouldn't support that. It's beautiful. I know when I moved to San Francisco, we didn't have that here. And I lived there for about a year. And I was so happy to have routes, walking routes and bike routes. It was wonderful. I went to an estate sale and bought a bike and thought I was in heaven. So, and like I said, who wouldn't want to come to Boone and enjoy those things?
Great. Well, thank you. So let's give her a hand. Thank you. All right. So next candidate is Billy Kennedy. He's a Democrat running in District 3. Having lived in Watauga County for 34 years, he understands the needs of the Watauga community and aims to serve the county as a whole. As county commissioner, Billy has served on the boards for the EMS, the Children's Council, the library, the Project on Aging, and Smoky Mountain Mental Health, in addition to serving as liaison to the Sheriff's Department. So thanks for coming. So we're doing a 1-minute opening question for everybody. Simply, why did you choose to participate in this forum?
Because when you run for office, you got to go to every forum, and the more communication you have with the public, the better you are. One thing that's really concerning me is about the long-term health and how we're going to afford to keep people healthy in the long term. Childhood obesity, I think, rose from 13 to 15% in the last year, and that's worrisome to me. So my approach to this recreation is it's the nudge approach. You make the facilities available and you encourage people to use them rather than saying you have to go exercise. So the more facilities you have available, the more people can be more active. So the more active we are, the better we are. My wife and I, about 10 years ago, worked real hard for the Bethel School PTA, and we raised funds for a walking track there in Bethel. Some of the people are like, oh, we don't want people to come to Bethel. You'd be amazed how many elderly people and everybody uses that walking track once it's there. It's about a quarter mile. And right before it opened, the picnic shelter blew down, so we scrambled and got the community involved and rebuilt that too. And then, as part of that Mountain Heritage Day, raised money for the playground too. So, thank you.
So we're going to do 2 minutes on each of the next 4 questions. So what role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Watauga County is a tourist-driven economy with ASU. So the tourist economy, people come here for the outdoors, for the environment. It's a beautiful place we live. That's what makes us special. So we need to make sure we maintain that pristine environment we've got, and then we need to make ways for people to be able to experience it, whether it's on bike, whether it's on foot, or doing activities on the river. So the more we get people involved, the better it is. As far as economically, we've got the 4-lane highways coming up off the mountain on both sides now, so people can drive up and back in a day. We want them to spend the night here. So if we have extra facilities, things that they'll do for the extra day, then that's going to keep more people, more tourists coming here. And that brings in tax dollars that are not coming out of Watauga residents' pockets. So those tax dollars give us more money to spend on our budget to take care of people without having to tax people as much.
Great. So what role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
Well, we already fund recreation to the tune of $930,000, I believe, per year this year. And we've got a pool that was an outdoor pool that we built to cover oak, closed it in about 20 or 30 years ago. And it's outdated, but it's the only one we've got right now. So we need to keep it working until we can replace it with a better pool. And I forget what the question was. The county commissioners. Yeah, well, the county commissioners do spend about $53 million of your money, and there are lots of different stakeholders and people that want part of that money. And what I've really found since being a commissioner is that we have to prioritize and we have to look all around at all the different needs in our community, and no one service is going to fit everybody, so we got to have some recreation for some people, some walking trails for others, and then we've got hard winters up here. So if we don't have an indoor space for people to do that, then we're not going to do as well. So the commissioners, if you're looking at long-term cost and how we're going to keep our costs down in this county, it's keeping people healthy and getting them back here. So the county commissioners do have a monetary role. And we have to look long term. Once you're elected, you really want to see, you're supposed to be looking 10, 20, 30 years out. What's Watauga want to be in 20 years? So you do need some long-term planning, and that has to come from community involvement so that we understand what the true needs are. And then we make, I do all my reading and do the best research I can, and then try to make the best decision I can for everybody in Watauga County.
Great. So a community recreation center has been expressed need of the community for decades, both in county and town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, I'm glad your organization is doing this because, like I said, they're competing needs for the county dollars, precious dollars that we've got that we need to spend carefully. I had hoped that we would have sold the high school property by now and could have maybe used some of that. But otherwise, we just need to look at how we can make this happen. Like I say, we're already spending about $930,000 a year on recreation, and some of that would roll into some of the staff at the new facility if we get one. But it's really up to the people of Watauga County to see whether this is going to happen or not. Because with ASU here and the people that are affiliated with ASU, they have facilities, although I hear they're pretty crowded these days. And I want to make sure that any facility we build for the county is available to everybody, regardless of means. Because if we can't get even the people who need it the most, who don't have the time and the money to subscribe to join a place, we need them to be able to come and exercise too. And we need to have a place where the whole family can come. The Grandparents can do an exercise in a warm pool. The adults can swim in a lap pool, and the kids can go and have a slide and some playtime. So if you have a facility that can accommodate all of the whole family, then people can come in from out of the county. I live out in Bethel, and it's a 25-minute drive to town. And if you can't, you could make that trip. We don't do it back and forth 2 or 3 times a day unless we have to. But so if we can make a facility where you could come and the whole family could enjoy it, then I think we'd all be better for it.
So last one. Trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities in statewide and local surveys. What role can a county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
Well, I really think the solution is to get partnerships here. And some of our best projects have been partnerships. The Boone Rocky Knob Bike Park was pretty much funded completely privately by the people that wanted that there. And then the county takes it over and does some maintenance, but our maintenance fees are not that big. And if we can get the right people on the Tourism Development Authority, that money can be applying for grants. And if you can get $10,000 or $100,000 of county money to become $100,000 or $1 million by getting a grant to our county for facilities and infrastructure, then we all come out ahead. So the Greenway trails, people I know use them all the time. Like I say, that little quarter-mile trail in the middle of Bethel, as we get older, we need flat places to walk on. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I need a place where I can go walk and get my exercise. So, and of course, Bethel's a beautiful place, but there are lots of beautiful places in the county. So the more places we have, the people can go enjoy those. And a paved trail is awfully nice. It melts off sooner. You get to use it more of the year than a gravel trail. And I've got trails in the woods from my house, but some days I don't have the time to go strolling in the woods.
All right. Let's give him a hand. Thank you. All right. So our next candidate is David Blust, the Republican running in District 4. Mr. Blust graduated from ASU in 1978 and has lived in Watauga County ever since. He has been married to his wife Cindy for 34 years with 3 boys, the youngest a junior at Watauga High School. He's a 2-time elected county commissioner in 2006 and 2010. Welcome.
Scott, thank you. So, totally not sure about the concept, even though John did a pretty good job of telling us. I guess why do I need to go ahead and
here's the
answer
deal.
questions?
So we're going to give you just sort of a 1-minute opening, and then we're going to get 2 minutes on 4 questions.
Okay.
Same question. So why did you choose to participate in this forum? Easy opening statement there.
Yeah, not trying to be funny, but I was asked to.
Okay.
And that's, I don't know if anybody else said that, but yeah, I mean, if you hadn't asked me, I wouldn't have known about it. So, but yeah, recreation's important. I see children in here and kids, and I think I saw Stephen Poulos somewhere in here earlier, waving in the back. By the way, his son's a great football player at the high school. But yeah, recreation's important, and I know that, and I know this group's been working hard over the last couple of years and trying to pull something together, and I think that's why everybody's here to see what the candidates have to say and where we're going with a rec center.
So we're going to do 2 minutes question here. So same ones we're asking everybody. What role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Well, I think it does play a good role. I don't know if they still have the basketball tournament. Do they still have that? Yeah, see Gene back there also. That's always picked on a weekend where there's no one around. Is that correct? And that's what you want to do. The hotels get filled up. I think we see across the district, we see those places that have swimming pools can host a meet with a lot of teams. If you've got soccer, same thing. The hotels fill up, the restaurants get money, bring people to the high country. There's certain times we don't want them here in the high country, like in the fall when there's a home football game and there's no room. But yes, we have many weekends and weeks where there's not much going on. I remember my days at Hound Deer's Club when I was the club manager. November and March were 2 dead months. Now, November's picked up quite a bit up in the high country, but yeah, you want to bring people to the high country to spend money. When I meet people all the time, I'm telling them if they're from out of town, I say, thank you for coming to the high country and spend a lot of money. So yeah, recreation does that. There's no question about it.
What role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
Well, being a 2-term commissioner, I mean, we're heavily involved with recreation. Stephen knows that. And We provide quite a bit of funding for that. I know we've got an outdated, antiquated swimming pool that we've become a boondoggle. We spend a lot of money on that, keeping that afloat, no pun intended there. But yeah, commissioners provide a lot of funding like they do for so many other subjects as well besides just recreation.
So, third question. A community recreation center has been an express need of the community for decades, both in county town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, I talk to people all the time. I don't know if Denny Norris is here, but we talk from time to time about it as well. But yeah, something needs to be done, no question about it. And as a county commissioner, I'm looking out for your tax dollars. And that's one area where, yes, something needs to be done financially. I don't know to what extent. We've had this conversation before, and we'll continue to have it. But yeah, the pool's basically gone. It's shot. We're putting a Band-Aid on it to the tune of $110,000 a year for the last 5 years, just to Band-Aid it. So yeah, commissioners have a lot to do with this, and it's something we've talked about on many occasions. We've had debate back and forth. Hey, do we close the pool? What do we do? And we've had a lot of conversations. We've got land available that I think we have not made a formal offer, but we've got out at Brookshire Park. We've got land available. You're talking to us about the land over at the present swimming pool. I think that'd be a great location for something like this, but a lot of hurdles to cross. You got the town of Boone to deal with, and a lot of their rules and regs. So. Yeah, it's something that certainly commissioners are going to be vital in.
So last one. So trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities in statewide and local surveys. What role can the county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
Well, the county's been heavily involved in that for years, and helping grants come through. They have to come through the county many times, and that's always a no-brainer. We do that, but my biggest thing with the greenways, and I'm a proponent of greenways, but when I see us build greenways in spaces that are in the floodplain, and I know they're going to get chopped up and mauled down the road, my question always is, who's going to pay for that? Just one more thing you, the citizens, are going to have to pay for, on top of the present money that's being given. So there's a lot of, people don't think about that a lot. As being someone that's going to be protective of your money and your tax dollars, there are hundreds and hundreds of things that we have to consider paying for, and this is just one more. So there's been debate about that. Who's going to pay for the greenway when it gets torn up? And I have a concern about that. But I think greenways are fantastic. Yeah, I've used them, and I guess many people in here do as well.
Great. Let's give a hand. Introduce you, and we'll let you make an opening statement here. So next candidate is Larry Turnbow, a Democrat running in District 4. Mr. Turnbow is retired from a career in environmental field testing and water and wastewater management. A veteran of the U.S. Army, Larry and his wife Marjorie have been married for 30 years and moved to Watauga County 16 years ago to raise their 3 children. So we're going to do 1 minute intro statement and then 2 minutes for 4 questions. So intro question, why did you choose to participate in this forum?
I don't know about the other perspectives of the candidates since we're here alone, but my perspective is I grew up in a county in Georgia, and we had a rec center. I played several sports over the years, but during the summer, during bad weather, we always had a safe place that we could go. It doubled as our high school basketball team's home court. We had facilities there that small businesses would come in, like meditation classes, yoga classes, those sorts of things, and use the facilities. So it was used for lots of things. I'm used to that. We had a couple of YMCAs. Unfortunately, not all of us could afford the fees for the YMCA, so this was an opportunity that we had as kids to have a safe place with good instruction, and that's why I'm participating from.
Great.
Thank you.
So we're going to do 4 questions, 2 minutes apiece. So okay. What role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Well, for this particular community, I know one of the things that we can do is save our swim team from going to Lenore for practices, and certainly they can have some home meets here because we don't have facilities there, and I would expect any center that we would build to have those facilities, since we really don't want to duplicate services. But it's something that's necessary and it's important. Also, it'll bring in visitors, it'll bring in folk into town that will spend money, and frankly, it's a good way to have the tax base increase without raising taxes. I like it when people come from other areas here and spend their money. Those are really important two things right off the top of my head.
Great. So what role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
Well, the voters had a choice of what we were going to do a few years back, I think it was 2010, and we had the opportunity then of getting a federal grant for $12 million, which would have paid for just about any facility, I believe, that's been looked at. It's unfortunate that I think a lot of that information did not get out. Now it's more difficult because grant money is disappearing. And I think the Board of Commissioners have to be proactive, just like Brookshire Park, in going out, getting businesses interested, and working with the community in private and with some government help, getting this facility built.
So you've mentioned that. So third question, a community recreation center has been an express need of the community for decades, both in county and town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to have a grassroots effort, which I think we do have, of people showing that they are really interested in having this. I think it's not just a job for the commission or any government entity to sell. I think things happen when people indicate to their elected officials that these are the things that they want. And I think you're doing a good job, not just having this forum, but indicating to the elected officials that we have right now that this is something that you want.
So last one, trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities in statewide and local surveys. What role can the county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
Well, the county has maintenance on a lot of the trails and greenways that we have right now. On too many occasions, I think, as citizens, I'm not elected to anything, I'm not representing anything other than myself right now, but I think one of the things that we do forget as citizens, when our local government takes over maintenance or takes over authority of anything, even if we've come up with private money, then there is some cost that we incur. I think that's something that also we have to think about. Any costs that we incur, we have to look at how we're going to pay for whatever facilities we have, and we do have to take care of those facilities. But there's costs that the county picks up.
All right, let's get back. Next candidate is Jimmy Hodges, a Republican running in District 5. Mr. Hodges is a lifelong resident of Watauga County and has been a small business owner here his entire adult life. He served as Watauga County Commissioner from 1996 to 2004, during which he served as both chairman and vice chairman. He believes leaders must lead by example and understands the importance of serving in a manner beneficial to all citizens. So, as a way of introduction, just 1 minute, why did you choose to participate in this forum?
Well, I guess because everybody else was. No, I'm kidding. No, I do have an interest in your all's project here. We kind of dealt with this same thing back several years ago. I have 8 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, 3 sons that live locally, and All of my children have always been involved in sports, my grandchildren. My little 8-year-old grandson participated in a tournament in Kingsport just this past weekend. And he pitched. He's a good little pitcher. So anyway, I do have an interest in what y'all are trying to accomplish here, a serious interest. I don't know how much time we have.
See, yeah, you're good. So here we're gonna have 4 questions. You have 2 minutes apiece for each of these, so you'll have some time to sort of expand on that. What role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Oh, I think it plays a great role when you begin to think about it. And I'll just use this recent tournament that my little grandson was in. You know, there were several hundred people there in that tournament, and of course they normally will spend the night in a motel. They all go out to eat, and occasionally the mothers will do a little shopping, that sort of thing. But you know, recreation is a very important thing this day, and parents don't mind spending money if they can see their children participating in sports. So I think actually it plays a big role. Does that 2 mean my time?
No, that 2 means you've got plenty of time. So
Okay.
When it says stop, that's when you need to stop.
Oh, okay. But anyway, I forgot where it was now. But anyway, it is very important to the economy.
So, second question, what role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
It's hard to say because you don't really know the makeup of what the board might be. I think it's a very important role that the commissioners have to play in a project like this. It's my understanding if this is able to be accomplished, then it will be under the control of the commissioners. So I think it's a very important role that the commissioners will play, or should play, I would rather say.
So, a community recreation center has been an express need of the community for decades, both in county and town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, you know, that's a hard question. I know that the current pool out there is literally just a big expense. It is a hole in the ground and a money pit at that. But I would like to see the whole county involved in this. And one concern that I do have, and I'll go ahead and express that now, is that the children out in the county be included in this in some way, because I think it should not be just for the proximity of Boone, but we do need to take the whole county into consideration. And I think another reason we need to do that is for the support of the county people.
Good. So, last ones. Trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities in statewide and local surveys. What role can the county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
Well, I think that we need to keep encouraging that. As you know, the trail between Boone and Blowing Rock is actually under construction now, and of course the trail out 421 East is used. It's unbelievable how that is used. And this area is becoming a great recreation area for that type of thing, for hiking and bicycling. And you know, you never get on the highway unless there's a bicycle or two out there. But people love the Boone area. They love the climate here and all. And I think people will keep coming, of course, if we provide something to draw them here.
Great. Our next candidate is Barbara Kinsey, a Democrat running in District 5. Originally from Texas, she and her husband both received degrees from Baylor University. After moving to Boone in 1969, her husband Winston taught at ASU for 36 years, and she taught 38 years in North Carolina public schools and at ASU. She currently serves as a member of the Watauga County Board of Education. So we're just going to do a 1-minute opening intro question. Why did you choose to participate in this forum?
Well, I chose for many reasons. I am a current member of the Board of Education, and so much of recreation has to do with education as well. There is such a link, and I think it's important that as we build our structure more completely for education, for recreation in Watauga County, that we consider the school facilities that are already here and so forth. So I think it goes hand in hand as far as my thinking is concerned.
Okay. We're going to do 2 minutes for each of these 4 questions. So what role does recreation play in economic development for our community?
Oh, goodness. The first example I think of, and I think it's okay for me to tell this, is the example of Lowe's Home Improvement, whose headquarters have been in Wilkes County for as long as they have existed, until however many years ago they moved down to Lake Norman area. They told the Wilkes County schools early on that their performance on tests and so forth was not good, that they were not satisfied, they as in Lowe's, and that if the schools did not improve drastically, and they were looking at arts in the community, all those things that do attract people, that they would be moving their headquarters. And we know the rest is history. They did move, probably for a lot more reasons than that, but companies who are serious about their employees and hiring good employees, etc., are going to look seriously at this business of recreation, education. As I said, it all goes hand in hand. So we need to do our part to offer an environment of recreation.
So what role do you see the Board of Commissioners playing to support recreation in our community?
Well, I think it is a primary role. The Board of Commissioners has already started working on this several years ago. There was a plan put out in, I believe it was 2009, that was a 10-year plan for Watauga County. It was a very well-documented, well-done plan, and it certainly addressed several pages to recreation in Watauga County. The plan, I think, has sort of been put back on a file cabinet. The copy I have is a great old big one, but there are smaller ones. And if you want to see it, by the way, go to the county office and ask for a plan, a Watauga County 10-year plan, and they will, I'm sure, give you one. But it's been talked about for a long time. We have done some great things with recreation. The trails, the bike areas, of course, we have access to state parks, to the Blue Ridge Parkway. We are so blessed with so many forms of outdoor recreation. However, I think the area that we need to work on now is some indoor recreation for folks who maybe are not walkers or can't be walkers or cyclists or whatever. We need some places for people to get together, to enjoy even playing board games. I saw somewhere that teenagers actually enjoy playing bingo more than anything. Now, can you believe that? I didn't at first, but this was a good poll. And I thought, hey, that's neat. That's neat. You know, that sometimes they want to sit down even with the older people. That's pretty much my business.
Let me segue. And the next question is, a community recreation center has been an express need of the community for decades, both in county and town planning and in community surveys. Since a YMCA is not coming to Watauga County, what plans would you have to meet this need?
Well, just to get down to the nitty-gritty and start pursuing one. And people say, well, we don't have the money, it would mean raising taxes, blah, blah, blah. I don't see that may be possible or probable for some of the funds, maybe a great deal of the funds. But I think we as community citizens can get started and start coming up with some funds, maybe through grants or people who have quite a bit of money that they would like to distribute around. And a community center, I think, is a necessary thing. And of course, we get a little bit into this east-west kind of thing. I don't want us to do that. I've heard, some rather bitter remarks about don't do this because it will do this or mean this for the future. We can work. We're grown-ups. And we can do this together. And we want everybody, as much as possible, to have equal opportunities as far as recreation is concerned. Another community center doesn't have to be a big fancy building. Perhaps we can do it in segments. I've seen some small communities in the area actually attach community centers to the fire departments and so forth, and that might be a possibility to begin with. But I know that Watauga citizens can find a way to make our community centers, community efforts equal to each other, and we can enjoy sharing them with each other in the county.
Great. So last question. Trails and greenways have been shown to be one of the most important recreation amenities of statewide and local surveys. What role can the county play to support the development and building of local trails and greenways?
I think that's a given already. We have done a great deal in Watauga County to make those trails and those greenways a possibility. The one thing I think everybody agrees on right now is that we've got to do a good job of taking care of those facilities along the way. It's easy to be all excited, a grand opening of this, that, or the other, but then we've got to make sure that all of us, not just people in the recreation department, but all of us are taking good care of those trails and bikeways and so forth that we already have. I think the sky's the limit for us in that respect because we already have so many opportunities. We can attach to this one or whatever. I believe I'm correct. Doesn't the Mountain to the Sea Trail connect with the Tobacco Trail down in Durham, I think? Yes. Gosh, it's just exciting to think about it. I won't be walking any of those, but it's exciting to see other people doing that. It really is. And I seriously just think, that we can do whatever we want to up here.
First question, how do you feel about the county owning, managing, and funding land, greenways / recreation facilities?
That's a tough one because sometimes these properties come with, with stipulations along with them, depending on where they come from, whether it's from family, land, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't really know how to answer the question. Maybe these folks can do it for me.
I'll repeat. How do you feel about the county owning, managing, and funding greenways and recreation facilities?
Well, I guess the whole catch to that question is the county funding. That's a pretty big statement, really. I think definitely the county will have to be involved in any project like this. I'm not sure where the county, and I would hesitate to say yes, the county should fund it because I don't know. I applaud the present county commissioners for reducing the debt like it's been reduced for the past few years. But when we talk about county money, and I understand this project is going to cost somewhere between $10 and $15 million. And I would not sit here and say, yes, the county will take this on, the county should take this on, because I don't believe that the county can take it on right now. And maybe not even in the future. But there must be a way that this could be developed and where it would be self-supporting. And I feel sure that the county commissioners would be willing to get this started, would put some money into it as a better expression for seed money. But I don't think that we could go into this project expecting the county to fund the whole project.
Would you like to read it again, Scott?
Absolutely.
You
So,
asked him to do that.
how do you feel about the idea is that county owning and managing greenways and recreation facilities?
I really have no issues with county owning, managing. I agree with Mr. Hodges. We have to take a real look at whether this county can fund it. But I would also remind everyone that organizations that are nonprofits, that are private, these organizations sometimes look to the community. I know that the YMCA does for building expenses, for opportunities of getting things from local governments when they come in. And then they operate it. They take the fees and costs, and the county receives none of that after spending money for those facilities. So it's not the issue of managing that I have problems with. It's how we go about and what are we going to do to fund this project. And as I said before, I think the only way that I see that we can do this is with local government involved. We're going to have to build partnerships, as we've done in the past successfully, with businesses and private individuals to get this project done. We also, in the operational side, we have a wonderful university here. That's an educational university. And we have varying departments there that we can work with, have interns year-round working on any project, recreational project like this. So we can keep costs to the minimum, but we have to find a way to do it. Thank you.
I think I'm okay with it. As for the county owning, maintaining, managing, I think someone said it earlier, maybe Barbara or Jimmy, I can't remember, but it's going to be a combination, and Larry just touched on it, of grants. It's going to be wealthy donors. Certainly the county is going to be involved. The county will put money into this. We put $110,000 a year the last 5 or 6 years average on the pool, and we put much more than that into recreation. So certainly, my main concern, I guess, is once this is built, as with every other thing, there's a cost to maintain, and that's always bothered me. Not just with this, with so many things. People don't tend to think about that. How are you going to maintain this 10 years? 15, 20, 30 years down the road. There's a big cost to that. And so many times that's overlooked. But as for recreation, I think we do need a recreation center. I think we all agree on that. But again, the funding has got to come from a number of sources. And the county will certainly be involved in that.
One thing that the government does is provide services for the residents, not for a profit, but as efficiently and as carefully as we can. So we need to be real careful about spending tax dollars, but I want this facility to be available to everybody. One thing about the YMCA, besides they're having to see a certain number of people in their study, they also wanted the county to give them $1 million and the property and raise the money for the center, and then we wouldn't even own it. So if the county is going to be putting money into it, I want it to be public property so that it's controlled by the citizens of Watauga County and open to everybody in the Watauga County. So these facilities are, expensive. We're already spending money maintaining a pool already. So that money, once we get a new pool, will be rolling in. That part of that cost will be into that. As far as infrastructure, I don't believe Watauga County has a debt problem. We don't want to go too high, but the money we spent on the school was, we've got one of the best high schools in the state, and the students are some of the best in the state, and we need to make sure we have the facilities for them too. So we look very carefully as a county commissioner at how long-term costs are going to be. One of my pet peeves is the efficiency of buildings, and I want every building that comes along now to be looking not just at the cost of building, but the 20-year cost of running this building. And we're doing that with the ambulance station out in Vilas. So, you know, we get a more efficient building. I've been building for 34 years, and it's amazing the differences that have happened in efficiency of buildings right now. So we're talking, you know, a building that will cost us less to run in the long run. But we do need to look forward and look what we need to provide for our citizens in this county.
Thank you. As you all know, I am new to this, so there's a lot of questions that I probably can't answer because I'm not absolutely positive of exactly what the board does and how much control they have. But what I do know is it should be a joint effort, and ultimately it's up to you guys. Do you want this? Does this mean a lot to you? It should be up to every citizen in this county if they want this facility or not. I think with lots and lots of information, I would have to have lots of information. I want to know every detail on how they plan on making money and who they're going to invite in here, because it's out there. We can do it. If Greensboro can make 25 to 30 million a year just in the economy from, like Jimmy said, Mama's shopping and hotels and gas and restaurants, we can do this. And like I said before, the Polar Palace is one of my greatest memories. We had an ice skating rink, we had pinball machines, I know I'm telling my age, a jukebox, and we had a ball, didn't we, Jim? It was wonderful, and we do need something, but it's up to you. It's up to the citizens ultimately.
So I've got a question here that sort of also something Barbara said earlier. So some studies show that a good Parks and Rec program is one of the top 3 reasons that businesses cite in relocation decisions. Okay? So with that as the backdrop, do you find that compelling? Is that worth county investing money in to attract businesses? Karen, why don't you start here?
No, it goes this way
I'm
now.
looking at Barbara, so I didn't know.
Sorry, I'll tell
Yeah, you and Barbara get stuck.
Yeah.
You're always first.
Go back that way, yeah.
Well, I did do a little study. I went back to Caldwell to take a business class, and I did learn that it's up to the airports and the roads. Can people come in and out of here to make those businesses come? Would it be lucrative? Are there business looking to come to Boone? I hope so. But there's a lot of circumstances that maybe keep us from us. Even these beautiful mountains, it's not easy in and out for tractor and trailers. So would a recreation center bring more business? I don't know. But it sure would make some happy residents, I do believe.
We do. We are at a disadvantage transportation-wise. We're not going to get a big manufacturing business up here just because the sheer cost of driving stuff up and down the mountain is going to eat that up. So we're looking at niche businesses. We're looking at businesses that want to come here because what Watauga offers that other counties don't. And we offer quality education, quality recreation, a beautiful environment, and a great place to live. And with the university, I mean, we've got it all. This is the kind of place that innovative businesses want to come to. And if you're looking for young people, they want to be outside. They want to have these facilities. So the innovators that are going to be these growing businesses are only going to come to Boone if they have, in Watauga County, if we have these facilities. And they expect this. I mean, businesses look at, because they've got employees that have kids in school and in sports activities, and they want to make sure that when they move to a small town, they still have those activities for their family to participate in. So that's a huge draw, and we need to look very carefully at what businesses we're drawing. We're not looking for heavy manufacturing. We're looking for innovative and smaller businesses that can stay here and grow, and companies that are here already, our local businesses that we want to keep here and keep them from moving away. So the infrastructure and these facilities we offer are crucial to what people want when they're agreeing to move to a new area. And that's the key to me, is getting these innovators here and just building on the great county we've got.
As for business coming here, yeah, we've heard some of the downsides, the topography itself, the beautiful mountains, tractor trailers coming up and down the mountain. There's a lot of reasons why they wouldn't, but the question is, would a good recreation program, facility, sure, it's one of the many reasons why it would come here. Along with education, as Bill mentioned, just a beautiful area, the environment. I've had people for years tell me, hey, I'd take a cut and pay if it was close to what I made just to live where you live, David. So yeah, recreation's one of many things that would play a role in that.
It's important for us to have quality education, which we've maintained in Watauga for a long time. It's also important for us to have facilities that small to medium-sized companies are interested in having available for their employees. I think we have great parks. We have national parks here. We have natural beauty. We do have a lot of hiking. We have a lot of rafting. We have lots of outdoor activity. I would challenge anybody to do that during the winter. I love the winters up here, but I would challenge anybody to do that. We need an indoor facility that we can use as a community that will also enhance our abilities to get in the small, medium types of sustainable businesses that we would like to have in the county.
Well, repeat that question. It's been a long time.
You said we talk a lot.
So some studies show that a good Parks and Rec program is one of the top 3 reasons that businesses cite in relocation decisions. So what do you think about the idea of the county's money being a investment to attract businesses to the area and keep businesses here, I guess I should say as well?
Well, absolutely. We boast of having ASU here, and it's amazing what that does for the economy. Being a realtor in this area for many, many years, and I think if you will ask any realtor this, they'll give you the same answer that I am. Most people moving to this area or looking for a home in this area, one of the first things they want to know is about the schools. I have never been able to not tell them that every school we have in this county, elementaries and all, high school of course, is the best. And people know that. And I know this is not directly to the question, but I just want to cover this. I just recently had a family move in my community that have 3 elementary age children. The main reason they moved to Boone, North Carolina was our school system. This person, they are both professional people. And of course, I will say this, our new school superintendent just moved in my community. He has small, of course, elementary age children also, and I'm sure that was a great attraction to him to be in this area. But getting directly to the question now, of course, companies looking to expand or move into this area, when they have employees, and most of their employees probably are going to have school-age children, that's going to be one of the main concerns of them being able to have employees transfer into our community here. So our education, recreation, it all goes hand in hand, as I believe Barbara alluded to earlier. So it is very important, and I am so proud of our school system here because I don't think we have to take a backseat to any school system in the state. Speaking of that quickly, and this is off the subject, we need to get our teachers' pay up at least to the national average. I just had to throw that in there.
Amen. I'm going to follow Jim's line just a little bit because some parks of recreation, all parks of recreation actually, are connected with the schools. And speaking of an aquatic center, several years ago when we were looking at this, there were some plans drawn up, just in case we decided to go this way, for a plot of land that where the high school is now. It's just as you turn in the driveway to go to the high school, over to your right. It's a relatively steep place, but the architects said they thought they could handle that. They drew up plans for an incredible aquatic center there. And their thing was, they drew some other plans for other places too, but their thing was, you could teach swimming at the high school. You could have kids go immediately to the swimming pool after school each day, or whenever they wished or their parents agreed. I thought, what an incredibly good idea. I believe probably all of you know at least one person who has either had children or has been on the Watauga County swim team. Do you know where they go? They go to Lenore, to the aquatic center. They have for years and years and years. I know several parents who have driven down to Lenore at 6 in the morning to take their kids for early morning practice, come back up the mountain, take them again in the evening so that they can practice. They could not even practice diving here. They had to go to some other place to do that. And the aquatic center in Lenore is just fabulous. It's wonderful. It's also a fun place. It's not just a competition place, but it's a great family place. So there are lots of things to be said in terms of the coordination of education and recreation in that sense.
So I'm going to do is people to be able to interact with you guys as well. So last question, again, I'm trying to synthesize several questions, but people had questions about the role of the TDA, okay? And specifically the role of the TDA in funding infrastructure as opposed to just funding marketing or advertising. So what role do you see the TDA playing in paying for recreation infrastructure?
I think that would have to undergo several transitions in terms of thinking, the way the structure of county government is put together or re-put together, whatever you want to call it. I think it would certainly be a possibility. Now again, you know, I'm not one who knows how to effectively finance all of these things in the best way possible and so forth. But it seems logical that the TDA could and possibly should have a role.
For the benefit of the audience, TDA is what?
Good question. Tourism Development Authority, and
I knew that. I just wanted them to know.
Well, I was going to say, I probably don't know a lot of it.
and I can't tell you the specific numbers, but occupation taxes go into a fund that's then used by the Tourism Development Authority for various activities. And so there's been a conversation about should that money be used for marketing and advertising exclusively, or should some of that money be used to actually build recreation infrastructure? So should the Tourism Development Authority use money to build recreation infrastructure as opposed to just using it for marketing and advertising?
Well, you know, the TDA authority does get money from different sources. And to me, this would be a great investment for that authority because, as I said earlier, they are going to be, the motel owners especially will be one of the beneficiaries of a project like this. So I was actually thinking about that earlier, that they needed to be involved in this and support this project because they're going to be a beneficiary of this. When people come into town, they always usually spend the night. People love to come to the mountains. They love to come to Boone, North Carolina, Blowing Rock, and so on. So it would be a great investment for that authority to get involved in this.
I have to say, I think an easy answer is to say yes, they should be. And I think it would be a wise investment. But as you pointed out, their money comes from several different sources. And I think one of the things that we'd have to do is make sure that there are no restrictions on how specific monies they're getting to spend. But given that, I don't think marketing and advertising is the only thing our tourism bureau should be doing. It should be enhancing what we have to bring tourists to this part of the state.
The TDA, it's already, many people don't know that. Billy and I do because we're on the commission, but they have, it's set up where they have to spend a certain amount of money for marketing. But yes, the other monies could easily be part of this. No problem. I would think that they would want to be part of this. They were part of the Rocky Knob Bike Park, very instrumental in that, and some other parks and other, I think a landing out by the new river. I can just go on and on. So yeah, they are very active in the things of this county like that would benefit the citizens of this county, and this certainly would. But I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe you know, but yeah. Would you give it a shot? Because they don't know, so you can fake them out.
I'm not trying to fake anybody out. If my numbers are wrong, feel free to correct me. But by statute, I believe the Tourism Development Authority has to spend 2/3 of its money on advertising, and about 1/3 can go otherwise. But that third can go to the advertising. In the last 4 or 5 years, the people that have been appointed to the TDA board by the commissioners have taken more of that money away from projects and applying for grants and taken it more to the advertising end. That's a vital part, but when we get people up here, we've got to have things for them to do. So the people, the board appointments on the Tourism Development Authority, and it's been a big turnover in the last 4 years, really has, in my opinion, hurt the TDA. They can take that $300,000 plus and use it to apply for grants, and a lot of these walking trails came through that, and they partner with people and they make that money grow into a much bigger pie, and then we get that for facilities, and without having to pay more taxes, that comes in. A lot of the TDA money comes in from room rates, tax on the room rates in the county. So it's people that are visiting here that are usually paying for that. So that's, I think, why the statute wants some of it to go back to advertising. But I think 2/3 of that is plenty for advertising, and the rest needs to be going for applying for grants and helping us develop better facilities for everybody in the county and everybody who comes here to visit.
Well, that was new to me because I had no idea about the TDA, so it was very interesting. And I have to agree, like I said a moment ago, it's going to be a community thing. It's got to be a county-wide thing. And evidently, there was a great question, whoever wrote it, because they're already in it. So I definitely agree that they should have a part in it.
Great. All right. So thanks to everybody for coming. We do have this on video that we're going to post on our website, highcountryrec.com. So people who would be interested in this, please pass it on. A couple of civics-oriented things. Number one, there's been multiple times where it's been talked about tonight that this is a grassroots thing. It's what the people want. So I would encourage you, if recreation is important to you, take a minute and write the current commissioners, a couple of which are up here right now. You go to highcountryrec.com. Their emails, their public emails are up there. Write them an email. They want to listen. They want to hear what you have to say. Okay? So take a moment to do that. The second thing is be involved in this next election. That's one of the reasons we have people here. So just so I can get my details, the deadline to register to vote is on Friday, October 10th. Early voting starts on Thursday, October 23rd and runs through Saturday, November 1st. And election day is Tuesday, November 4th. So get out and vote. Appreciate everybody coming tonight. I'm hoping these guys can hang around and be willing so you guys can interact directly with them. And let's finish by just giving all the candidates a hand.